Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Marc Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Marc tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 95. Thrilled to have you along for this weekly radio show and podcast that aims to not only celebrate technology, but also to help make some sense of it all. As you heard the announcer say, my goal is to break down geek speak into street speak. Thank you for letting me into your home or your phone. You know, I usually don't suffer from seasonal allergies, but this year, man, I don't know what's going on, but for a couple of weeks, I'm super congested. I guess the Mayflowers and trees are blooming and it's not agreeing with me. So apologies for the nasal voice, but I digress. We do have a great show planned for you. In a moment from now, we'll learn about tablets in the back of an Uber or Lyft. Great idea, as you can stay entertained in your next rideshare vehicle. I'll tell you what's in it for the drivers and advertisers as well. After that, on today's Tech It Out, we'll chat about privacy issues with Airbnb when we hear about survey results from a Chicago-based market research firm called Digital Third Coast. You've probably heard about that family from New Zealand who were staying at an Airbnb in Ireland, which is, of course, somebody's home that you book through an app. And the dad, an IT expert, found a hidden camera inside of a smoke detector. Now, that's disturbing enough, but they later found out they were live streaming the video over the internet. Wow. All right. Speaking of privacy, also on Tech It Out today, we'll chat about why you should have a VPN or virtual private network when browsing the web. We'll tell you why when we speak with Georgia Weidman from Bulb Security. Georgia is also the author of a book about hacking. And finally, on the show, I'll share some high-tech Mother's Day gadget gift ideas, all for mom. All of this and more coming up on Tech It Out. All right, let's kick off the show with our first interview. You know when you're in the back of an Uber or a Lyft vehicle and you might get maybe a bottle of water from the driver or maybe a charging cable to juice up your smartphone. Well, what if the next time you hopped into the back of a rideshare car, you had a tablet to play around with? A company called Surf is making this a reality. Joining us on the line to tell us all about it is Eli Chimouni. He's the founder and CEO from Surf. Welcome to the show, Eli.
Thank you, Marc. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. Let's start right from the top. What is Surf?
So as you mentioned, Surf provides entertainment in the back of rideshare vehicles such as Uber and Lyft. So now when you get into the car, you get a variety of different entertainment options, anywhere from videos that you get to watch, games that you get to play, or even exploring the local area that you're in, from best date night ideas to exploring the best happy hour in town or breakfast spots, or a variety of different entertainment options.
It's a great idea because I was in a Lyft yesterday in New York City and it was a good 45 minutes to and from the airport. And this would have been, obviously very handy to have. So it's the same idea, I guess, as an airline that may hand out a tablet or you've got some content behind the seat in front of you to play around with. Did you conceive the idea behind Surf?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, just like you said, I used to fly a lot and would get into Ubers and Lyfts, and those trips will be 20 minutes to 45 minutes. And we all ask the driver the typical three questions, right? Like, how long have you been driving? Do you drive for Uber and Lyft? And tell me a crazy story that happened in your car, right?
Exactly.
So we all ask those questions, and after the 5 minutes that you get answered with those questions is either that awkward silence with the driver, or you get sometimes the drivers are too talkative and you're like, okay, I'm trying to go back to my emails or to handle different things, or can you please change the song that's playing in the car, or can you do this? So we wanted to basically bring back control to the passenger in terms of controlling how their experience is. So you currently control what destination you're going to, but we wanted you to control also the experience and that and have a fun ride as well. So when you get on a plane, there's in-flight entertainment, there's tablets, you get to choose what videos you get to watch, short-form content, and I want to offer that extension of that experience in the back of rideshare vehicles. So now when you get in, you get to choose which song you want to listen to, you get to choose which videos you want to watch, and you get to explore the local area. So when you're sitting there in a new town for a 45-minute trip, you want to explore, maybe a burger place that you want to go check out that's, recommended by the locals, or maybe just sit back and watch some movie trailers and plan a weekend accordingly.
So I can see the benefits for the passengers, of course, local advertisers and content creators, maybe those who make videos or distribute them. But what's in it for the driver?
Yeah, so we love our drivers, right? Because if you really look at the drivers, they're really struggling making more and more money as this rideshare market grows up. A typical driver usually makes on average about $350 a month. That's usually, you find a lot of these drivers who really care about their ride. They offer you that water or mint or charging cables because they're trying to make a bit more extra on the tips and the ratings that help them in the future make more money.
Sure.
So we wanted to offer them a system that they can upgrade their car really at no expense to them. So the tablet doesn't cost them anything. It's absolutely free for the driver. We even pay for the data service on that tablet. And then on top of all that, we actually pay drivers every month to carry the tablet in the car. So top performing drivers who actually have the tablet in the car, they can get paid for up to $200 per month for literally, no investment up front, nothing like that. And for them, it's like, oh, this is a cool ride, or my driver had a cool ride, and the passengers going to enjoy it, the driver's enjoying it, so it's a win-win for both.
We're chatting with Eli Chimuni, founder and CEO at Surf, based in Phoenix. Surf provides tablets to rideshare vehicles so that the passengers can play around with content during the ride. Is this already in the market, or is this still in the early stages of the rollout? Where are you right now, Eli?
Yeah, so we started the company about a year ago, and we're currently, luckily, in 10 cities. We have an amazing team that's been working super hard to roll us out into more and more cities. And we are in cities like LA, San Diego, Phoenix, Miami, Chicago, Las Vegas, Denver, Dallas, Austin, and we're just keeping adding more and more cities. Luckily, the drivers love it, the passengers love it, and the content creators are really enjoying this new screen that they can distribute their content beyond Facebook Watch and YouTube. So we found a good trifecta of like all customers like you kind of deal. And that's really helping our rollout into more and more cities.
Mm-hmm. Just because I'm a techie, I'd love to know what tablet you're using, if it is one standard model. And is it mounted like behind the seat of the passenger seat or driver's seat?
Yeah, so every driver gets a kit, and the kit includes a tablet, a headrest bracket, and a security bracket that gets attached to the passenger headrest, so they don't have to worry about theft or damage or anything like that. And we use a variety of different tablets depending on the supply in the market, but it's a 10-inch tablet. And we have a team of 12 developers that basically built our entire infrastructure. So we get to customize the content and the experience based on time of day, based on GPS location. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting an Uber at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., you might see more business-oriented content and more finance-oriented content compared to getting into the car at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or maybe you're heading to a bar. Mm-hmm. You might see more music videos and experiences like that. So we built that entire experience that way, and everything is built from scratch from our team that's trapped in a dungeon and all they do is code all day.
And I guess you can also change it up. Like if you are a suit and you are in the, on a Monday morning at 8 a.m. and the tech thinks that you want to be dished up news related headlines, if you did want to let your hair down a bit and watch a music video or something, you could change it, correct?
It's absolutely controlled by the passenger. So
okay.
Whenever you go in, you get to see a variety of different channels, just like you would get to choose what you want to watch on Netflix. So you get to click on the channel and control what you want to watch. So even if you've had a stressful week and it's Friday morning or even Wednesday morning, you can even put on the meditation channel and just sit back and relax. So there's some calming music.
Awesome. What if the ride is shared and there's other passengers there? Is there headphone support, or do you just kind of look at the other person and say, hey, do you mind if I watch this video? That kind of thing? What's the etiquette there?
Or you can ask them to join into watching the video with you, right?
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah, so we currently do not provide headphone support. We know like a lot of people kind of carry their own headphones. So you're welcome to kind of plug your headphone into the tablet and you can listen privately that way. Okay. If you choose to do so, if you have more than one person in the car. Otherwise, you're welcome to kind of watch a similar content with other people in the car as well.
Got it. I understand. All right, Eli, just as we wrap up, how do you find out if the Lyft or Uber you're about to take has Surf? Is there a way to request it? And where can we learn more about the company and your products?
Absolutely. So we have a great website, ridewithsurf.com. And anyone who's interested and you have any ideas or any partnership potential, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and I always respond to those messages. Currently, there's no way to know if your ride's going to have it, so it's kind of like a nice Easter egg hunt and getting surprised that there's one in your car. We are rolling out into more and more cars, so hopefully within the next year, it becomes more of a standard thing that you're going to see. And again, we have great social media accounts, so feel free to connect with us there to know about any future rollouts or any additional features that we're launching.
All right, Eli Chimuni, CEO and founder at Surf. Thank you so much for your time. Congrats.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it.
Perhaps the dust will need to settle with Uber and Lyft, as many drivers were on strike this week. They were protesting wages. The fact that on the corporate level, companies like Uber and Lyft, which have or are about to go public, have made good cash, but the drivers say they are not. So there was a number of cities across the US, in Canada, in the UK, and elsewhere protesting wages. So I think Surf, these tablets are a great idea, but let's see these drivers happy first and let the dust settle there. Speaking of tablets, before we continue on with the show, Tech It Out is powered by ASUS. They make some great tablets and other products. That's ASUS. Thank you for your ongoing support. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops called ZenBooks. They also make desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and much more. They also have a gaming brand called ROG, or Republic of Gamers, with some awesome gaming gear. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out when we talk about Airbnb privacy. Stay with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. You may have heard about a family from New Zealand that traveled to Ireland for a vacation, and they stayed at an Airbnb, essentially using an app to rent someone's home. But the tech-savvy dad made a very unsettling discovery: a hidden camera inside of a smoke alarm that was not only secretly recording video, that's creepy enough, but also live streaming the video to the internet. Now, because of cases like this, Digital Third Coast, a marketing company, surveyed 2,000 Americans who've used Airbnb to see how they feel about privacy issues. Joining us on the line to discuss, we've got Colin Zarnecki. He's a researcher and content strategist at Digital Third Coast. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure thing. Hey, before we talk about Airbnb and your survey results, tell us a bit about Digital Third Coast. Where are you based and what does your company do?
Sure. So we're based in Chicago, and we produce a lot of data-driven stories and research for a variety of different companies. And for this particular Airbnb study, we conducted on behalf of a company called IPX 1031, and they handle tax exchange transactions. So basically, it allows a property investor to defer capital gains taxes on an investment property when it's sold. So they work with a lot of, Airbnb owners and even VRBO property owners.
Right. Okay. And I had VRBO, which is now pronounced Verbo. I just had them on my show last weekend. Interesting. All right. So, Colin, tell us about the impetus for this study. Why did your client want to investigate these privacy issues among Airbnb users?
Sure. I think it definitely mentioned in the introduction, there's been a lot of talk recently about the issue with hidden cameras inside of Airbnbs. So as part of the study, we wanted to dig a little deeper into that and to basically ask about Airbnb property owners and guests, what they not only prefer when it comes to researching Airbnbs, in terms of amenities and costs, but also how much of a factor security is on their minds when they're, looking to book a property. So we sort of wanted to dive into those topics within this survey.
Okay, cool. And we will get to those trends in a moment, or those amenities when they're renting an Airbnb property. But what were the main takeaways from this study? Maybe you can talk to us a bit about the results.
Sure. Again, as you mentioned about, the family who was vacationing in Ireland, coming across a hidden camera. That was one of the main takeaways from this survey. We asked whether or not people are worried about hidden cameras, being inside their Airbnb, and more than half, about 58%, said that was on their mind, and that was a definite worry and concern when it comes to booking. Another pretty big takeaway was the fact that about 1 in 4 said that they were okay if a camera was in a common area, say a kitchen or a living room. And then also about 11% said that they've actually discovered a hidden camera inside their Airbnb rental.
Oh, wow. That particular stat is disturbing, I guess, that let's say 1 in 10 people who have stayed at an Airbnb have found a hidden camera. That also begs the question, how many did not find one? And I don't want to try to scare listeners. I mean, I think for the most part, most people are not abusing this platform like Airbnb. I've stayed at Airbnbs before. I think there's a great value proposition there. So I think it is in the minority. But to hear that 11% say that they've discovered a hidden camera in an Airbnb, that's, I think, a little disconcerting.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's sort of that thinking of both on the host's mind and the guest's mind. You've heard horror stories about, rentals being not properly used by guests, maybe parties being thrown there. So when it comes to a guest, definitely you want to make sure that your property is going to be secure. But then on the other hand, from a guest perspective, how comfortable are you with security being implemented inside a Airbnb, especially when it comes to maybe security that's not disclosed within the listing, and it turns out that there might be a hidden camera there. So I think that it's definitely something to think about whether you're a host or a guest.
We're chatting with Colin Zarnecki, researcher and content strategist at Digital Third Coast. It's a Chicago-based market research company. And I understand that also part of your results were that about 2 in 5 renters are doing a little more research about their host via online platforms like Google and social media before they pull a trigger on a rental. That I think goes without saying, and that's kind of expected. On a positive note, though, what was said to be the most requested amenity in a rental property?
Sure. Again, sort of that tech side of things, Wi-Fi was by far the most important amenity, according to respondents. That it was surprising too that Wi-Fi was even above things like a private bathroom and air conditioning. So it seems like people got to have that Wi-Fi. That was definitely surprising to see that, above sort of the traditional amenities that you would, think of usually when it comes to renting out. Yeah,
I don't think there's much of a surprise there. So Wi-Fi being the number one desired amenity in an Airbnb rental. Hey, where can we learn more about Digital Third Coast, Colin, and this survey in particular about Airbnb privacy?
Sure. Yeah, you can learn more about Digital Third Coast at digitalthirdcoast.com, and you can find the survey on IPX 1031. That's IPX1031.com to find out more about the survey results.
Thanks, Colin. I appreciate your time. I enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Marc.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. You're listening to the Radio America Network.
Want to follow Marc? Google him. Marc with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Marc Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. I'm not talking about public Wi-Fi at a Starbucks or at a hotel lobby or anything, but at home. What you do on the internet is private, right? Wrong. Not only are your surfing sessions tracked by websites, search engines, and social networks, but often your internet service provider, a web browser company, the government, and potentially hundreds of online tracking companies. You get the point. The only way to browse anonymously is by using what's referred to as a VPN, or a virtual private network. Joining us on the line to talk about it is Georgia Weidman. She is the author of a book called Penetration Testing, A Hands-On Introduction to Hacking. Welcome, Georgia. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure. I'm really excited to talk about this because it's a question I get often from listeners about how they can remain anonymous while browsing the web. But before we get to VPNs, or virtual private networks, please tell us a bit about yourself, including what your book is all about.
Well, what I do primarily is penetration testing, hence the name of my book, which it shortens to pin testing, which a lot of people think that means I would test Mont Blanc pins, which would be cool. But actually, I simulate a bad actor on the internet. What an attacker might do to you or your company, that's what I do, except I do it for good. Instead of, stealing your money from the bank account, I instead show you how I did it and help you make it so that that doesn't happen in real life.
That's awesome. All right. So that's called penetration testing, and you're hired to hack into their system. I think that's often referred to as ethical hacking. Is that right?
That is ethical hacking. So a company approaches me and they ask me to do this simulated attack against their network or against a product they made or their phone, anything like that. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like challenging you to break into their system to show them their vulnerabilities. I'm going to ask you to plug the website later for Bulb Security, the company that you are with. And if there are small businesses or medium-sized businesses listening that would like to use your services, they'll know how to reach you. So we'll get to that. But I wanted to invite you onto the show to talk about private web browsing. If people don't use any tools to mask their online identity, and most of us don't, who can see where we're going online, and what do they want to know with our browsing sessions?
Well, it might actually be better to question who can't see our information. It could be you made a list as you were doing the intro, without VPNs, anybody from the internet service provider that you use. I don't want to get all technical into the way the internet works, but anybody who owns a service that you might be going through to get to, say, Facebook or your bank account, any of them, anybody who could be a bad actor, if your traffic is going through someone who doesn't like us very much, like China, they may be spying on us as well. So any of them who have inserted themselves into the chain of the traffic, they can see every bit of data that we send. So if you're sending your username and password to your bank account or again to Facebook or any site, they could use that information. If you're paying with a credit card, they could again capture that information. Really anything you can think of that you want to keep secure on the internet, they might see.
Wow, that's pretty scary. I've heard the analogy not using a VPN when you're browsing the web is kind of like living in a glass house and all the doors are unlocked. I mean, is that about right?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good way to think about it. I think, as a whole, our society has not really understood that it is a very scary world out there on the internet. Just because your credit card didn't get hacked this one time or nobody's broken into your Facebook yet, it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen tomorrow if we're not taking steps to make ourselves more secure.
All right. With that in mind, one good step is what's called a VPN, or virtual private network. It's usually, if I'm not mistaken, a piece of software that can help you remain anonymous while you are surfing the web. Is that a fair way to explain what it is? I know there's hardware VPNs as well, but usually it's something that you would download, you launch it, and then you launch your web browser, correct?
That's correct. I mean, usually a user will download the software onto their computer, like you said, launch it, and then they'll be able to do all their browsing and all your traffic will be routed through the VPN. But it's not just anonymity. It also can help you with having better control over who's monitoring your activities, your physical location even. You could make it so that they couldn't see where you were, and that'll make it harder for bad actors to intercept your internet traffic and those credentials and everything we talked about.
Mm-hmm. Some people may think, well, if you're using a VPN, you have something to hide. But that's probably not a fair way to look at it. I mean, it's for anyone that wants to mask their identity because it's nobody's business. If you want to shop at Amazon for lingerie, or if you want to go to CNN opposed to Fox for your news. I mean, it shouldn't be anybody's business, but there's lots of eyes watching.
Right, exactly with how ad culture is today, where really everyone is watching just even to send us the right advertisement. So they're not exactly attacking us, but they are certainly, paying attention to what we're doing, using a VPN to avoid just things like that, where, it's not necessarily going to harm you, but we should have more of a right to privacy than that.
Yeah, good point. We are chatting with Georgia Weidman. She's the author of Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. And she runs a company called Bulb Security that does perform penetration tests for companies to find any weaknesses and vulnerabilities in their code. Are VPNs legal?
Well, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so I can only tell you, what I know. Doing illegal things with the VPN, of course, is still illegal.
Right.
In the United States and most of Europe, using a VPN is completely legal. Some countries like China, Iraq, North Korea, and Russia come to mind. They restrict the use of VPNs, but you might argue that that list of countries tells us something about the regimes that would want to restrict the citizens' right to privacy and security.
Right, because they want to know. These governments want to know what their citizens are doing, what they're accessing online, who they're chatting with, and what about. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I went to China last year and it was, they don't have things like Facebook or Google or any of those things. Their citizens, can't access those things.
Wow.
With a VPN, you could just VPN out and then you would be able to use it.
Now, you were saying earlier you would download something to your computer and launch it before you go online, but you can also use VPNs on a smartphone, which we're using increasingly to browse the web today, right? Or tablets as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think many people do forget about their mobile devices when they're thinking about security. They have their work documents maybe on their computer, but they probably also have work email on their phone and other private things, Facebook again, whatnot. So I think a lot of people who even are starting to think about security to some extent kind of miss it with the mobile devices, but your mobile devices are just as vulnerable as anything else. The traffic still routes the same way. So you should absolutely keep that same level of security that you are on your traditional computer with any mobile device you're using.
When we return on Tech It Out, we'll continue our chat with Georgia Weidman. She's an ethical hacker. We are chatting today about VPNs, or virtual private networks, why they're a good idea to help you remain anonymous while you browse online. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Marc Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. We are chatting with Georgia Weidman. She's the author of Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. And she runs a company called Bulb Security that does perform penetration tests for companies. There's another benefit to VPN that I've learned over the years, and that's when you want to look like you're from one country when you may be in another. So let me give you an example. If you, let's say you subscribe to Hulu and you like accessing your TV shows and movies, but you happen to be traveling overseas, if you don't use a VPN, Hulu may think you're not from the US and therefore they do not have the licenses to carry these shows and movies and block you. They'll say, sorry, Hulu is only available to US residents. But if you use a VPN, often you can choose the country that you want to make it look like you're from with an IP address or unique identifier from somewhere in the United States. So it seems like you're there physically. Is that a fair second way to use a VPN?
Absolutely. I do a lot of world traveling and a lot of my colleagues do as well. And I think, that's probably the number one reason that a lot of us use VPNs is so we can continue to stream things while we're somewhere else. That is correct.
Or I know my friends in Canada, if they want to access the US version of Netflix, for example, you can launch a VPN, choose an American IP address, and then you have a different set of movies and TV shows that you can watch. But let's not go there.
Legal gray area for sure. But if you had a British IP address, you could then access BBC.
Right.
Yeah, but again, kind of gray area there at the very least.
Is there a difference between free VPNs out there like Hotspot Shield and one that I use called BetterNet and the paid ones?
Well, there is an old saying on the internet that if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. But in truth, it's probably not quite that bad. You should look at each vendor for your paid on a case-by-case basis. Some free VPNs are really slow, and they might be limited in like what geographic diversity you can use. So if you're using it to get back to the US for Netflix, you need one that can do that.
Right.
Using a VPN for privacy would only have the VPN vendor themselves potentially selling your privacy to the highest bidder, which that would be a bad trade-off. I mean, certainly the VPN can see you, so you do want to be in business with a ethical VPN. But if you're concerned about your personal security and privacy, I'd say you're probably better off using most free VPNs versus no VPN at all.
Yeah, great point. And one last thought is I know that with some VPNs, I've heard from people that it can kick you off the VPN like mid-session. So if you're on, I don't know, let's say Pirate Bay, downloading an episode of Game of Thrones and you don't want your internet service provider to know, then it could kick you off the VPN and then you're exposed while you're downloading something you shouldn't. So be aware of that. I'm not saying all free VPNs are like that, but I've heard that with some of the inferior products that the connection doesn't stay strong throughout the entire browsing session, which is important.
Right. That is true. Some of the VPNs, particularly some of the paid ones, will have if it does lose its connectivity, it'll actually block all traffic on your machine until you hit the button to make sure that you're not exposed in that way. But that's true. Some of them will just drop you silently.
All right, Georgia, I've really enjoyed our chat. As we wrap up, where can we learn more about your work? And tell us, the website, of course, to Bulb Security.
Well, it is just bulbsecurity.com. That's bulb like a light bulb security. And we do, as I said, penetration testing. We also do training. My primary research interest is mobile security. So we also build products to help you with your mobile security. So there's a lot that we do. And if you're interested in this field or you want to test out the security of yourself or your company, we would love to help.
All right. Awesome. And again, Georgia's book is called Penetration Testing, a hands-on introduction to hacking. And Georgia Weidman's surname is spelled Weidman. Thanks so much, Georgia. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Before we continue on with the show and talk about Mother's Day gadget gift ideas, maybe this year you'll forego with the flowers and the chocolates, the huge, and go with something high tech. It is 2019 after all. Before we get to all that, I do want to thank my sponsor again, ASUS, the title sponsor on this program. That's ASUS. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including the laptop that I'm recording this show on right now, a ZenBook. Love it. You can visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. My laptop, by the way, is one of those models that converts from a laptop to a tablet by bending back the screen on a 360-degree hinge. It's a touchscreen, but it's super thin with great battery life, amazing audio, because I listen to music a lot and watch movies on this laptop. So it is my go-to device for work and play, whether I'm at home or traveling. So love this thing. As I mentioned, when we return, we're going to talk about Mother's Day picks, some products that I showed on TV last week. I do want to ask you, though, as a Tech It Out listener, maybe you're relatively new to the show. We picked up a few new stations last week in Texas and in Oregon. If you like the show and you want to reach out, you can hit me up at tech@marksaltzman.com. That's my email address, tech@marksaltzman.com. Or on Twitter or Instagram, Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm at Mark with a C, Saltzman. And if you've got suggestions for an upcoming show, some guests that you would love to hear from, some topics you'd like me to tackle, maybe you've got some questions about tech. I do like to answer questions from listeners, the old mailbag segments. I'm all ears, so you can always reach out privately or publicly, whether it's social media. If you do want to follow me on social media, by the way, I do have a tech tip of the day. I do this every weekday where it's a little bite-sized tip to help you out in life because I know technology can be overwhelming and intimidating. So I give a little life hack, if you will, a tech hack that you may or may not have known about. So hope you enjoy those tech tips of the day. All right, when we return on Tech It Out, we're going to chat about Mother's Day gadgets. From activity trackers to tablets to headphones to photo printers, I'll share my favorites when we return.
Follow Marc Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
For the remaining block on today's Tech It Out. I wanted to chat about some recommended Mother's Day gadget gift ideas. Maybe this year you'll get something high-tech for mom, and there's no shortage of great options out there. So here are a half a dozen ideas. The new Fitbit Inspire HR for $99 is Fitbit's latest and most affordable device. It's of course, a health and fitness tracker designed to help moms stay motivated to be healthy with a tracker that gets her closer to her goals. Inspire HR has all the essential features that she already loves about Fitbit, like activity and sleep tracking, all-day heart rate tracking, but it also has a 5-day battery, a stylish design, personalized clock faces, smartphone notifications, interchangeable silicone bands, and a lot more. Again, that's $99 for the Fitbit Inspire HR. The HP Sprocket 2nd Edition portable photo sticker printer. Love this for $129. This is about the size of a deck of cards, but it can wirelessly print out photos from your smartphone. In fact, up to 3 people can wirelessly connect to the HP Sprocket, and it prints out these like 2x3-inch stickable photos that have remarkable color and amazing quality. And, you know, mom can put them on her cubicle at work or on the fridge of the kids, of the pets, of her friends, what have you. You can also dress up those photos with filters, colorful frames, text, and stickers. And as I mentioned, up to 3 devices can use Bluetooth to connect to that HP Sprocket printer at once, so more friends and family can join in on the fun at your next holiday party. You can get 4 different colors for the 2nd edition HP Sprocket, and prices again is $129. Next up, the Samsung Galaxy Buds. These are truly wireless earbuds for $129, tuned by AKG, so great sounding earbuds. You don't even really see them in your ear. They just pop in, wirelessly connect to a smartphone, tablet, or laptop, and you've got up to 6 hours of performance. So great sounding earbuds for your music, your audiobooks, your podcasts, like Tech It Out, as well as the ability to take a phone call. It's got a built-in microphone, of course, and it sounds really clear on both ends. So this is a great product, $129 for the Samsung Galaxy Buds, and you do not need a Samsung smartphone to use these. It also works with iPhone and other Android devices. Next up, for the young mom or the mom-to-be, the VTech VM4261. It's a video baby monitor for $149, and this lets you see and talk to your baby. You get a 4.3-inch video baby monitor to walk around the home up to 1,000 feet away from the camera, which is in the nursery, and that camera has pan, tilt, and zoom capabilities, night vision support, 2-way audio, and even the ability to take the temperature in the room that the camera is in. So it gives you some peace of mind as a young mom or dad. So this is, I think, a great gift for someone on your list. It also has a rechargeable battery, so you don't have to buy batteries for it. And there's data encryption that provides security against others who may try to hack into the monitor. Next up, the new Apple iPad Mini for $529. This is the new 7.9-inch iPad Mini that has a gorgeous screen, a lot more power than before, better battery life, and now support for Apple Pencil. So whether you're playing a game of Sudoku or you're taking notes during a meeting at work or jotting down ideas at a coffee shop or maybe using one of those trendy coloring pages apps where it's kind of like a coloring book for adults, you can use that optional Apple Pencil with it. But I love how small and compact this iPad Mini is with, again, a great looking screen and support for hundreds of thousands of downloadable apps. So this is something that mom can just throw into her purse and bring with her wherever life takes her. Again, that's $529 for the new Apple iPad Mini. And then finally, if mom likes coffee, and chances are she does, the new Nespresso Barista is a drink maker, a recipe maker that offers more than 20 recipes for hot, cold, and chocolate-based beverages. It's very simple to use with the touch of a single button, or, you know, it is on my high-tech gift list because there is Bluetooth support. There's an app you can install for free on your smartphone with all those recipes to get that drink that mom wants, whether it's a velvety hot chocolate, iced coffees, elaborate lattes, or indulgent cappuccinos or mocha. So depending on the recipe, you toss in the coffee that you want, maybe ice cubes if it's an ice drink. It's a milk frother. You can even throw in chocolate chunks and it'll grind it all up. So great stuff. And this is the Nespresso Barista for $169. Nespresso.com has more info. So again, let's recap the Fitbit Inspire HR for $99, a new high-tech activity tracker that won't break the bank. The HP Sprocket portable photo sticker printer for mom at $129. Samsung Galaxy Buds, truly wireless earbuds that work with any Bluetooth-enabled device for $129 as well. The VTech VM4261 baby video monitor to talk to your baby and see your baby in great resolution wherever you are in the home for $149. The new Apple iPad Mini, which works with Apple Pencil, from $529. And finally, the Nespresso Barista drink maker and milk frother. This is a nice addendum to a coffee machine that mom may already have. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's Tech It Out program. I do want to thank my sponsor one last time. Tech It Out is brought to you by ASUS, creating technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. ASUS, for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. And happy Mother's Day to all those moms out there. Bye-bye for now.